Good evening, everyone. Tonight we have a very special guest on Flash to the Past with Rachel. We're bringing back a very heroic woman from the Revolution who talks about her brave experiences in battle. Please give a warm welcome to Deborah Sampson. So Deborah here fought in the war while she was dressed as a man in order to fight. So thank you for coming, Miss Sampson.
Of course, it's a delight to be here.
So before we start talking about your life in the war, tell me a little bit about your life growing up.
Well, I had a pretty rough childhood. I lived in Middleborough, Massachusetts, with my father, Jonathan, my mother, Deborah, and my 6 siblings. We were a pretty poor family, so eventually, with my father working at sea, he got lost, which was very sad for our family, and it did not make our poor situation any better.
What do you mean by that? Like, what happened to your family after your father passed?
Well, my brothers and sisters and I went to live with extended family, and went to live with my aunt.
How old are you when this happened?
I was about 7 or 8 years old. However, I only stayed with her for 3 or 4 years because she passed away.
I'm very sorry to hear that. But where did you stay after she passed?
I went to live with a nice family called they were the Thompsons, where I had to do any chore that was given to me.
And did you know these people personally or before you went to live with them?
I actually didn't, but the pastor, who I was very close with in my aunt's town, he knew them for a long time, knew that they were nice people, and sent me to live with them.
How long did you live with them?
I lived with them until I was 18, and after I became a teacher, where my main goal was to make sure that boys and girls got the same education.
So was that one of the reasons you dressed up as a man and fought in the battle, to kind of prove a point that boys and girls and men and women are equal?
That was definitely a factor in my decision, but I was also very interested in the war, and when I was younger, and I would sneak glances at the newspaper for my personal interest.
Mm-hmm. And so now that we're on the topic of the war, tell us a little bit about your experiences. Start from the beginning. How are you able to enlist?
Well, I dressed as a man, as most of you know. I used my brother's name, who actually passed away, Robert Shirtliff. And on May 20th in 1782, I was successful in my enlisting, and I was assigned to fight in the Continental Army.
Mm-hmm. And were there any major challenges that you faced while at battle?
Yes, I was actually shot in the thigh, and I had a head injury, and I told the doctors about my head injury and allowed them to patch it up and stuff, but I actually pulled the musket ball out myself because I was afraid that they would figure out my identity.
Yikes! So when did someone discover your identity?
I think it was 1783, and I came down with a serious fever, and I was sent to the doctors once again. And then the doctor had to remove my clothes in order to cool me down from the fever, and then he saw the wrappings around my chest.
And what did the doctor do after he found out about this?
The doctor was actually a very nice man, Dr. Binney. He took me back to his home and his family and did not reveal my secret. And then he nursed me back to health. However, when I was well, Dr. Binney sent me to deliver a message to General Patterson informing him that I was a woman because he felt that my secret needed to be told to the world.
And what did General Patterson do after you gave him the letter?
He actually honored me for my service in the war, even though he didn't let me go back because it was a bit illegal.
I'll say. So where did you go after you weren't allowed back into the war?
I went to live in Staunton with my aunt, and that's where I met Benjamin Gannett.
And first, before we talk about Benjamin Gannett, why did you go back to Staunton and not your hometown?
Because there were a lot of rumors going around my hometown saying that I was dressed like a man and stuff, and I just didn't want to have to go back to all that drama.
So now, who is Benjamin Gannett?
He is now my lovely husband. We were married on April 17th in 1785.
And did you have any kids with Benjamin?
We had 4 children, actually, one of which was adopted.
Well, good for you. It seems like your life took you great places. So, thanks for coming, Deborah.
Thank you for having me.
See you next time on Flash the Past with Rachel. Have a great night, everyone.